What's going on, everybody? Welcome to a brand new week and a new episode of the Chris Stevens Writes YouTube channel. If you're not familiar with who I am and this is your first time stumbling upon this channel, hopefully it's not your last, but welcome aboard. Name is Chris Stevens. I'm a sports writer of going on 23 years. It's a pretty long damn time, honestly. I really need to get started on my memoirs. If I break into a story about journalism, leave a comment in the comments below. Say, Chris, work on your damn memoir. But yes, I've been a sports writer for various publications for 23 years. I'm currently working for HBCU Sports as a sports writer and a podcast panelist. And I also write novels. I'm trying to finish this Christmas romance. Oh my God, I really hope I finish it. I'm probably just going to have to bear down the business and, finish the rough draft this week, let it sit for a couple weeks, and then just, make edits and have it out Black Friday. That is my goal. I want this Christmas romance to be out the Friday after Thanksgiving, which I believe is November 30th. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But yes, welcome to my channel where I talk about things like this, writing, and I also talk about everything that's going on in the world with respect to politics, dating, relationships, romance, sex, sports, music, automobiles, culture, all of that good stuff. So welcome if you are new. If you are a returning subscriber or a lurker, I welcome you back as well. Don't forget to subscribe and tap the notification bell to be notified of everything that drops on this channel. Don't forget to like and comment on the video so we can get a discussion going so more eyes and ears can be on this channel. So, wow, that intro only took 90 seconds. Yay, we're making progress. I've been trying to be mindful about making these videos shorter so that people don't have to just keep, coming back like, damn, I missed something here, or damn, he's just talking for too long. I got to come back. So, gonna work on that. I probably could do better with editing since I, have been able to edit down some pretty sizable pieces of video. So I might as well just, stop being half-assed with it and just make the edits as need to be edited. Okay, now we're done talking. So, okay, so this intro is 2 minutes, whatever. So we had a rather unique end to last week from a journalism perspective. And that, of course, was with the news that two of the largest papers in this country, the LA Times and the Washington Post, said they will not endorse a presidential candidate. Now, there's nothing more that needs to be said that I haven't said before on this channel, but I'll just run it back for those of you who are new. The worst thing to happen to the free press was billionaires, basically, in no uncertain terms. Make no mistake about it. You have these folks who don't know thing first about journalism, but just want to be in everything because now that they've bought into media, they can control the media, and they're doing a damn good job of it. Because if you've noticed, you notice a slant in the coverage. And, people have been questioning Kamala Harris's ethnicity, whether Tim Walz really was a football coach. But no one seems to question that the other guy may be showing signs of dementia, maybe showing signs of previously having a stroke or other shenanigans. But, he's funny. He's ha, fake news, not talking to you. You're nasty people. Vote for me. You'll never have to vote again in your life. And people think that's funny because that sells newspapers. That gets ratings. That gets clicks. But people's lives are at stake. Literal people's lives. My black ass life. The life of LGBTQ folks. The lives of women and people with uteruses who don't want the government in their freaking uteruses. But for some strange reason, two of the largest papers in this country. No, it's not strange. It's pretty clear. Because who owns the Washington Post? Jeff Bezos. Of course, Jeff Bezos came into billionaire status by virtue of Amazon. And then, of course, he went and bought the Washington Post. No surprise there. Tech bros have just been buying their way into media and social media. I mean, look at the guy who owns Twitter, the musty one. Like, I don't think people understand. I mean, I think people do understand how dire this is, but there's still this small segment of the population. I've already addressed those folks time and time again. But you folks who swear that a third-party candidate is going to solve all our problems, you're stupid. You black dudes who swear that we're not being centered when the entirety of our race is at stake here, y'all are stupid. And the genocide protesters, whatever, man. I'm not even going to get started. But it's clear that the media, the mainstream media and legacy media, has an objective. And they are carrying it out to the fullest at this point in time. Like this is like we have entered propaganda territory, and that's one of the major clues of fascism. That if the media won't call out the nonsense, I mean, they're pretty much bought and paid for. So that means Trump can continue to get stuff to make him look good while the woman that's running against him, and is the better candidate, as I've said once before, and we'll say it once again, is being questioned about her ethnicity or whether she really locked a whole bunch of black men up for weed, which of course has been disproven over and over again, and people just keep running with that bullshit story. So I think watching this from an outsider's perspective, even though I still work in journalism in some respects, has just been very discouraging. Like when I got into this, I started major in 2001. I was 19 years old. 2 weeks before 9/11 happened. That was 2 weeks after 9/11 happened. That was when I turned 20. But I started studying journalism at 19, going on 20. My first job was as a student reporter, the sports editor of the student newspaper, The Hornet, at 20 in 2002, 20 going on 21. So watching the field that I get into that I love devolve into nonsense, it's very discouraging and it's very terrifying to know that people are not willing to do what journalists have done since the beginning of time, and that is inform people and tell the truth about everything that is going on. Because there's a lot going on that people just refuse to accept about Trump and his cronies. Like, I mean, I shudder to think what happens if we wake up on November 6th and that dude is president again. I really do. Like, I don't think any of us are safe. I mean, and funny part is the people who swear that black people, Latino people, Asian folks, Eastern Indian people, indigenous people, the LGBTQ community, women have taken from them, they're absolutely going to take from you too. Make no mistake about it. They've used your poor white asses as a vehicle to push their agenda, and y'all are going right along with it. You know, just like a dog chasing a car, or the horse. They're dangling that carrot of white supremacy in front of you, or as Lyndon Baines Johnson said so many years ago, if you can convince the poorest white man that he is better than the poorest Negro, there you go. So they have convinced your poor white asses that you're that much better than us, even though we are all in the same boat against the same 1%. Why do you think they call us the 99%? Y'all ain't part of the 1%. Y'all don't have yachts. Y'all don't have multiple homes. Y'all don't have, legacy hirings and all of that. Y'all are in this 99% boat just like the rest of us. And if you think they're not going to include you in that 99%, the 99% is not going to go to the 10 or 15 or 20. Sorry if you think that. That's just not how it's going to work. The 99% is going to remain the 99%. Might even be the 99.9% if we're being honest. So do with that what you will. But it's going back to the media aspect of it. If by some miracle, I don't even want to call it a miracle. I mean, if VP Harris wins, one of her first official acts as president, and I am dead serious, as a heart attack, she needs to get a reformation, a sort of, what's the word I'm looking for here? A committee to look into all of these media deals, whether it's print journalism, whether it's radio, whether it's television, whether it's the cable and streaming stuff. That's the first thing she needs to do. That's one of the first things. I mean, obviously, we already know if the Democrats get a Senate majority and a House majority, that Roe v. Wade is obviously going to be codified. That might be the first thing that VP Harris does, because it would just be that fitting for the first woman president in history of this country to protect the rights of women and people with uteruses. That would just be like, that's easy as it gets as your first official act of legislature as a president. But next on the list absolutely should be, well, actually, no, voting should be second. Okay, so Roe v. Wade, Civil Rights Act, Voting Rights Act, and then this media situation. Because you got dudes like Musty, you got dudes like Bezos, and all these other right-wing tech nerds who have no swagger, who have no, like, people don't want to be around them. Like, this dude Musty is literally changing the block feature on Twitter because he's so mad that nobody wants to see his ignorant ass thoughts. And that's scary, because there are a lot of people like him who get blocked on social media every day, and now they'll have access to people who don't want access had to them by these people that they blocked. So it's a lot going on, man. I mean, just please vote. That's all I got, man. I mean, I'll probably, because this is going out on a Monday morning. I think after the coaches conference that I cover for I cover the MEAC football coaches conference every Monday. And I think once that's done, I'm going to go ahead and get my early vote on so I can just decompress on next Tuesday. I'll probably go, to the gym Tuesday morning and then just watch a bunch of stuff on stream and then hopefully go to bed and then wake up on Wednesday morning and the world has not gone to hell. That is my hope and prayer. But yes, that's all I ask, is just use your common sense when you vote, because Trump and his people ain't it. No matter what the bought and paid for mainstream legacy media tells you. That's pretty much that. Next on my list of topics that I want to discuss, the disappointing Shaquille O'Neal. Yeah, I use his full name because he just embarrassed himself and his quote unquote niece / daughter / protege, Angel Reese. I've already told y'all before on this channel, like, I don't stand for Angel or Megan or Glow or any other young black girl of success being, judged harshly by these dudes or anybody else for that matter. Because I think it's not as major a problem as the men, but there's still a problem with a lot of older women who feel like they need to judge younger women for how they do things in the 21st century. And it's like, we'll get more into that in a minute. But Shaq was on Angel's podcast, Unapologetically Angel, last week. And all the talking points that a old ass black dude who does not care about women's sports were spewed by Shaq on that particular podcast, especially about lowering the rim in the WNBA. We don't need a lowered rim in the WNBA, for one. They play the purest brand of basketball I can imagine. They move the ball. They play defense. They move around on the court. There's nobody just standing in one spot for 20 seconds on the shot clock and then deciding either to shoot the ball or go for the rebound, and then so they can come back out and jack up a three-pointer. They actually strategize in the WNBA. That's the more fun game right now. Nobody wants to talk about it because we just saw the Boston Celtics jack up 70-something three-pointers on opening night, and nobody has said a word about how that is damaging the game of basketball, but it is. I had to get that in. I'm a Sixers fan. I just had to get that little chat, and it felt good. Oh, it felt good. Whew, felt great. But yes. But I think the worst part of that was Shaq. I mean, it's the clip that's been circulating. I'm not gonna post it here. I'll put a link to that little clip in the description below, and you guys can check it out at your leisure. I'm not gonna make it a part of the video, but Shaq, mind you, is 52 years old. Angel Reese is 22. If your math is good, you know that's 30 years difference, which means that man is old enough to be her daddy. So this dude talks about how when he starts talking about lowering the rim and all of that, and how women have to, sell t-shirts and all of that, he mentions this outfit that Angel wore on what was that? Was that Wild 'N Out? Yeah, it was Wild 'N Out. And she was obviously very uncomfortable. And people have noted in the clip, like, you could just see the disappointment washing over her and the realization that Shaq is just another man, basically. And it sucks because he's the president of Reebok, who is her shoe company. And I believe Unapologetically Angel is under his media network. I mean, so it's a textual case of sexual harassment, basically, what's going on here. Like, this is a young lady that you called your niece. She calls you uncle. Now you're talking about how you want her to wear that little short set on the court. What? What the hell is wrong with you? You're 52 years old. Half of your kids are older than Angel Reese, for crying out loud. Be serious. That young woman is not in your market, or you're not in her market. We're out of the league. Whatever antonym you want to, whatever synonym you want to put out there, it's not happening. It wouldn't happen if you weren't positioning yourself as her big uncle or whatever. Like, if you were just, if you guys had no personal relationship and you were still just Shaq and she was still just Angel, there's no chance. There's no chance. And, oh God. It's been interesting to note, the reactions to that clip on social media. Like, I've just been casually perusing, through Shaq and Angel's names together just to see what people have to say. And there's very clearly a dividing line. It's a dividing line, as it always is. There are men who said, well, she dresses like that for attention. You want attention? You got it, which is stupid. And then you have the women who are like, Angel just found out what we all have been finding out for years. And I think it's time that we as men have a come to Jesus with ourselves about how we position ourselves in women's lives. I think it would still be stupid if they were in the same age range, honestly, because it takes a while for some guys to figure out. It's clear, once you just realize the signs, but a lot of guys are either oblivious or just refuse to see it. I think that's what they call weaponized incompetence, because there's no way that 52-year-old Shaq, divorced, and a known cheater, like this dude was in a Superheads book, for crying out loud. There's a blast for the past from y'all, Superhead. But yes, he was in Superheads book, for crying out loud, while he was married. This ain't like, he was single Shaq running wild in those Orlando or Los Angeles streets. He was good and married and somehow found his way into the confessions of a video vixen. So we're talking about a 52-year-old serial cheater with 6 children who realizes that he lost the best thing he ever had when Shawnee got rid of him. And he's admitted that he's lonely because, he hasn't been the best father. He clearly wasn't the best husband or partner, spouse, whatever you want to say. So why would the 22-year-old girl with her entire life in front of her risk any of that for him? Think about that for a second. You don't have to think about it long and hard, but it's pretty obvious, ain't it? Shaq right now, there's an old saying that a gentleman is a patient wolf. Right now, Shaq is an old bulldog trying to, hunch a couch right now. That's basically what he is. A lot of men of a certain age, they got to give up on the fantasy that younger women are actually interested in their old asses. It's time for that realization. It is time for that realization. That dog just ain't gonna hunt. Sorry to say. It's just not. If you want to be a sugar daddy, cool. If you got, what did the great philosopher Clifford Harris say? It ain't tricking if you got it. If you want to spend, by all means, but do not expect that young woman to be, in love with you, because it's just not a fit. For crying out loud. These young girls don't even want to be tied down to young men. You know what I'm saying? Megan Thee Stallion just said, these hoes fuck around, stay and get your heart broke. I bounce on a nigga like booty cheeks. These women ain't going for the same stuff in 2024 that they did in 2004, 1994, 1984. It's a new day. It's a new day. These younger women realize now that the ones that, are engaged in sex with men or date men, they're just like, there's nothing to be gained from this shit. So they're like, no, we're not being tied down by anybody. So yeah, you could be a sugar daddy. I mean, but just realize that that's all you gonna be. Ain't no falling in love in the game. It's just not. So, but you mean dudes of a certain age, all of them. I mean, guys in their 40s, which is my age range. I'm 43. Guys Shaq's age, 52. Everybody, I would probably say anybody from 30, I think 35 is fair. Yeah. Like, yeah, you could still, kind of sort of, not even that shit. I would probably say, yeah, I'd probably say, let's lower. Let's lower. Let's say 31 or 32. Like, yeah. If you're 30, I mean, even if you're in like your early 30s, you really need to start thinking about women that are closer to your peer group or maybe even a little older, quite honestly, to partner with. Or even if you are, just looking for something non-committal. I mean, there are older women out there, who are done with relationships and just want to have fun, but just be mindful that a lot of women of a certain age that get older, they have, come to a realization that there was never anything wrong with them when they were younger, and there's not a damn thing wrong with them now that they're older. So that means they got options, many and plenty. A lot of you dudes look at a woman and say, well, I would never date her. There's 3 niggas right now saying good morning, beautiful in her text. At least. Let's make that abundantly clear. So you may not like her. You may not be attracted to her. But there's at least 3, 4 dudes that are. So it's not going to be one of those situations when you're dealing with a woman that is not, interested in, monogamy or not interested in anything long term and is down for, something casual, something friends with benefitsy, something fuck buddy-ish. She gonna have a few. Most of them do. A lot of, I'd probably say again, it really depends, but there's a lid for every pot. And there's somebody for everybody, allegedly. I'm still waiting for that to be true in my case. But in a lot of cases of women aren't as pigeonholed in as a lot of men are. Men, we have to be perfect. And this isn't a complaint at all. I mean, it's a fact. I mean, if you are going to be a dude who swears that you can play the field, then you need to have the play the field characteristics. You need to be in shape. You need to be tall. You need to have a deep voice. You need to be handsome. You need to have a personality that has women wanting to be around you on a regular basis, including sex. Women already have all of that because women are already more interesting, personality wise. I mean, they have sharper senses of humor. They're more learned. They're more, well read. They've taken their education seriously and then they experience things like women. Like dudes really get upset when women go on girls trips, but because they think, oh, they just going to, get trains run on them or whatever nonsense y'all can make up in your heads. But these women really just be going out here, enjoying each other's company and seeing whatever sights there are to see. So they travel, they go to concerts, they go to shows, sipping paints, anything. I mean, they just get out more and do more. So they have a wider base of life experience to call a personality from. A lot of dudes don't never leave the block. They don't ever leave the house. They don't ever leave their town. So it's hard for them to connect with women in that respect because women have the more interesting stories. Like, wow, you've never zip lined in South America? Some niggas ain't never even been to South Carolina. Got too close to the mic there. Ooh, that mic is cold. But that's the point. Women do more, women experience more. And I think that's what drives men batty is because a lot of us, we're in a comfort zone. I have to admit, I am in a comfort zone, which is why dating is absolutely a nightmare for me right now. Because I work a lot. I'm a sports journalist, for crying out loud. I mean, I cover games. The organization that I'm with, we are making strides to become a better and bigger organization. So that means all hands are usually on deck a lot. So I don't get out much. I mean, I have my own home. I have an apartment. I have a car, but I don't really go out much. I mean, like, y'all saw how gassed I was to go see Stevie Wonder a couple weekends ago. Like, I really don't get out much. And it's tough to connect when you don't have the same experiences as the person on the other end of the dating app or on the other end of the table, should you guys meet for coffee or dinner or something. And a lot of that is because a lot of us just don't really do well with stepping out of our comfort zone. I'm talking about men now. And I mean, and this has been a complaint of my own life forever. Like, I live in Wilmington, Delaware. I see the same people every day. Every day. Like, this isn't even this. I mean, I guess I could leave at some point, but at this point in my life, I don't know if I can start over again or start over, period. Because I mean, my mother's getting older. She's probably going to need me because, as I said the last episode, when your parents age, it's usually up to the kids to take care of them. And I do not want to be that dude who does nothing while the parent just withers away. And I'm not saying my mother's in any condition to wither away. I mean, she's retired, but she's still very much of sound mind and sound body for the moment. So, but I don't want to be that dude who's just like, oh wow, this dude doesn't go see his mom at the home or nothing or none of that. So, I mean, and I've always been reliable, and I don't trust my family to help out. I don't. So it'll probably be up to me. So what's the use of me right now leaving to move to whatever utopia I can imagine, whether that be in the South, whether that be Chicago or Detroit or all the way out to the West Coast or whatever. And then I have to realize that my mother is aging and then I have to pick up my life and come back home. That's what it is. I mean, and it's not something that I'm dreading, and it's not something that I'm going to be bitter about. But I realize that I've always been the reliable one. So when something goes wrong or something happens, I get the call. And that's what it is. So even going back to that, this really turned into an episode of the Overnight Scenario. I didn't mean for it to, but that's fine. That's the beauty of it. There's different topics that we can, parcel out throughout the week in different episodes. I mean, as you guys have seen, I did 3 episodes last week. I think we're getting back into a groove with smaller episodes. Damn, this is 30 minutes. So yeah, it went a little long, but that's okay. But getting back to the point of Shaq and Angel Reese, old dudes need to realize that young women were never in the marketplace for y'all at all. Not from a love standpoint, not even from a sex standpoint, because when you are older, I mean, yeah, you can still go, but can you go at a level that is pleasing to a woman of a younger age? And the answer is probably no. It's no. I don't know what these kids are doing nowadays, these 20-somethings. I mean, I'm 43. I'm trying to find out what these 40-somethings and 50-somethings be on. But, I don't know what these 20-year-olds or 20-something-year-olds are doing nowadays. I mean, but I can guarantee you, it's just not, I mean, it's not going to work. It's not going to work because what are y'all going to talk about? There's life experience gap. I mean, younger women are not meant to be tied down. And I mean, it took generations, but they finally realized that they weren't meant to be tied down. And the younger dudes are panicking. The old ass dudes are panicking. Like, we are in a state of craziness right now because a lot of these dudes do not know what is happening. I mean, they know what's happening, but they know they can't do a damn thing about it. So that's why the whole thing with Shaq was just like really disappointing. I mean, Shaq has always had problematic views. Like, he's the most hateful legend that I can think of when it comes to giving younger guys props. Like, every center that doesn't average 30 and 15 like he did is a bum, or he's just not good enough. Or even going down to his hard on for being a police officer, or respecting the police or whatever, back in the blue or whatever. So yeah, Shaq has always had problematic views. I mean, he's never been he's never been a perfect person. I mean, none of us are, but I just feel like a lot of that could have been overlooked because, you know, he just had this personality that just had people gravitating to him. And Shaq will chase a bag no matter what. Like if Shaq can make money selling, you know, caskets, he would. He'd probably, you know, do the Undertaker bit to, you know, to sell a coffin to somebody. But this was a young woman who looked up to you, who admired you, who sought you out for advice, professionally, basketball wise, business wise. And she learned right in the middle of recording an episode of a podcast on a network that you own and a shoe coming out that you're the president of the company of. She learned that you are just another dude that's just trying to get some buns. An old ass dude that's trying to get some buns. And that sucks. That has to suck for a woman or a young girl. It does. So we got to grow up as men. I mean, we have to realize that, yeah, if it's okay to still play the field, but play the field with your peers. Like if you're 40 something, go after 40 something. If you're 50 something, go after 50 something. If you're 60 something, go after 60 somethings. Let these 30s and below, 30s, these 21 to 30s do what they do. They ain't for us. They not like us. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just realize that, yeah, you can play the field, but play field with people your age, basically. And that's something that Shaq is going to, you know, I mean, he's probably not going to face any real backlash from it. I mean, yeah, it's something that social media is going to really go hard about because a lot of, you know, women are just now using the power of their voices on social media to say, hey, this ain't right. But, you know, will Shaq, you know, be really face some consequence for it? I doubt it because Chuck's not going to say anything. Kenny Smith isn't going to say anything. Ernie Johnson's probably not going to say anything either. I mean, this is the last season inside the NBA. They trying to make this the best last year ever. So I don't think, you know, telling Shaq that, hey, you pushing up on a 22-year-old is weird as fuck is not going to, you know, go a long way to having the best year last year ever for the NBA on TNT. But we got to do better. Fellas, we have got to do better. It is that simple. And that's going to do it for this edition of the Chris Stevens Writes YouTube show. Greatly appreciate your time as always. Contact information in the description below. Once again, subscribe, tap the notification bell so you can get all the new content that drops on this channel. As you can see, I have been very proactive in getting videos up. This one is up Monday morning. You'll probably see another one either Wednesday or Thursday. And then, of course, you'll see the overnight scenario Thursday night going into Friday morning. See, I got a schedule now, so we rolling. Also, don't forget to like and comment on these videos so we can get a discussion going so this algorithm can pop up, more eyes and ears can be on this channel, and this channel can grow. Y'all have a great start to your week. And until the next time we speak, y'all be good or be good at it.